the 2024 Helen Keller Services Accessibility Symposium and Awards. A man with short gray hair and a blue Helen Keller Services polo shirt.
Hello, and welcome to the Helen Keller Services 2024 Virtual Accessibility Symposium and Awards. I'm Larry Konetsky, Chairman of the Board at Helen Keller Services, and it's my pleasure to open this groundbreaking event. Today, we gather virtually from across the country and the world, united in our commitment to shaping a more inclusive future. We're here to recognize the critical importance of accessibility in all its forms, from digital landscapes to physical spaces, from product design to corporate culture. This symposium will explore how prioritizing accessibility not only transforms the lives of individuals and strengthens our communities, but also drives innovation, enhances user experiences, and unlocks vast market opportunities. The global disability market represents a staggering $7 trillion in annual disposable income. It is a vast and often underserved market that deserves and needs to be engaged. But beyond the compelling business case, accessibility is fundamentally about people, about creating a world where everyone can fully participate. Today you'll hear from industry leaders who have embraced this philosophy, from Procter & Gamble's innovative approach to accessible product design, to Kellanova's strategies for incorporating accessibility into their iconic brands. We'll even get insights into how accessibility is shaping the entertainment industry. We are also honored to recognize companies setting new standards in accessibility, like United Airlines, Lego, and Melloway Makeup. These organizations are making real, tangible differences in people's lives through accessibility. This symposium is more than just a showcase of success stories. It's an opportunity for all of us to learn, connect, and reimagine how we make our own organizations more inclusive and accessible. As we progress through today's sessions, I encourage you to reflect on how these insights can apply to your own organizations and communities. Remember, every step we take towards greater accessibility is a step towards a more equitable and prosperous future for all. Thank you for being part of this important conversation. Now I'm pleased to welcome our Master of Ceremonies, Doug Rowland. Doug, take it away.
A man with short brown hair and a beard wearing a light blue polo shirt and a dark blue jacket.
Thank you, Larry. And hello, everyone. My name is Doug Rowland, and I am honored to host this wonderful event. Building upon the award show that Helen Keller Services began a few years ago, this 2024 Virtual Accessibility Symposium and Awards offers an opportunity to not only honor some amazing companies leading the charge in accessibility, but also hear from some individuals helping to create a more accessible and equitable world, which leads me to our keynote speaker, Sam Latif. Sam is the company accessibility leader at Procter & Gamble, where she is responsible for driving forward innovation to make the company's 65-plus brands inclusive and accessible for people with disabilities. Sam's passion for her work stems from her personal experiences. As a woman who is blind, Sam is able to draw upon her lived experience of barriers to access in order to help foster inclusive design. Before we hear from Sam, we'll be watching two short videos. The first uses a novel approach to demonstrate the challenges that people who are blind or low vision face when shopping, and the second showcases an innovative solution for product accessibility.
A shop called What's in Store is open for business. Security cameras show that nearly all the products on the shelves are blank and have no information on them. A woman walks into the store. She looks at the blank products and is very confused.
Is there anything you're particularly looking for?
An explanation?
One by one, more customers enter, each as confused as the last.
What's all this unmarked stuff?
It's just regular food.
What's the deal?
How can you tell what's what?
They don't even have signs.
A woman points to some tins.
Is this a different item to that?
Not necessarily, no.
This is crazy. Are you sure this isn't some kind of massive joke?
So you don't know what it is?
No, I don't.
No, you know, obviously, but how do we know?
No,
what
I
it is?
don't know either.
A title reads, "Everyone should have the right to know what they're buying." Yet 9 in 10 blind and partially sighted people find it difficult to access crucial information on packaging.
There's no nutrition value, there's no fat, there's no salt, there's no sugar written on the labels. What do you know what you're getting?
What if you have a nut allergy?
Good question.
My mind is working overtime right now trying to figure this stuff out.
So just imagine if this was your regular shopping experience, like if you went to... This is the regular shopping experience for somebody who's partially sighted or blind.
Right, I see.
Quotes from people with sight loss read, "I have to depend on others to read it for me. It's denying us our independence. I want manufacturers to take notice." A title reads, "We're working with brands and supermarkets to make their packaging more accessible. But there's still more work to do. Find out how you can help at rnib.org.uk. RNIB. See differently."
A woman in a light blue hijab and matching shirt speaks throughout the video. A convenience store.
Imagine making every single product in every single store accessible.
The woman reaches for a bottle of shampoo.
We cannot shop independently. We can't see what's on the shelf at all.
A shot of different products on a shelf.
I'm Sam Latif. I'm P&G's company accessibility leader, and I happen to be blind. A key priority for P&G is to build disability confidence. There's 250 million people worldwide with moderate to severe sight loss. Imagine going into a store and not being able to see what's on the shelf.
The image blurs.
Touching a lot of products on the shelf, knocking them down. It's very overwhelming. It's very difficult to make an informed decision.
Seeing 4 tags, 36 inches away. Pantene Pro V Miracles Intense Rescue Mask.
NaviLens is a modern, colourful QR code which instantly gets picked up by the smartphone at an angle. From far away, it's allowing us to find the product totally independently. Here, I found it.
Nearby.
This is the one. For the first time ever, be able to literally see what's on the shelf. It's really instant.
Pantene Pro V Miracles Intense Rescue Mask.
That's something that we've never ever been able to do before.
Pantene Pro V Miracles Grow Strong Shampoo with vitamin and bamboo extract.
The ingredients, how to use the product, the sell-by date. The inclusion of NaviLens on our Pantene products is going to be really a game changer for people like me. I've never been able to go up to a shelf and without touching it, see what's on there. It's incredibly powerful. It's something that we've never experienced as blind people before.
Typing on a laptop.
And this is another step in our journey to making our communications, our advertising, our physical products accessible for the 1.85 billion people in the world with a disability. It gives us back confidence, independence and dignity that we very much deserve.
The P&G logo, equality and inclusion. We are unique and we are united. Sumaira Sam Latif, Company Accessibility Leader, Procter & Gamble.
I'm from a Pakistani background and I grew up in Glasgow, Scotland, and now I live in the outskirts of London. I'm a mother of 3 beautiful children, and today I'm wearing a black Ted Baker dress with pink and white flowers and a pink headscarf. I love running, going to the gym, and more recently I took up Bollywood dancing. Now, on the subject of running, I view life as a race that we all have to run. We've got our own goals, and we will face our own barriers along the way. There's hurdles for us to jump, but sometimes we can't jump those hurdles. We have to go under them, around them, and sometimes we just kick them over entirely so that we can continue to move forward. So today, I'm going to share the story of my race as I run towards that finish line. And at that finish line, I envision a world, one that is more accessible and inclusive for everyone. It's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. I'll take a recent example. My new local cinema was not accessible with audio description. For those of you who don't know, audio description enables blind people to enjoy movies and TV because it's an audio track that describes the visual elements on the screen so that blind people can also follow along with the action. In the cinema, we use a headset. It's very simple to do. Every Hollywood film, every Netflix movie or program comes with audio description. So I had asked the cinema for the headset when the cinema first opened, and each time they apologized, saying that they were still waiting for the headset, but don't worry, it's coming in 2 weeks. Time passed, a long time passed, and then one day for Mother's Day, my kids bought me tickets to the cinema, and we were told when we arrived that there was no audio description. I was absolutely gutted. Normally, I never watch a movie without audio description, but this one time I said, I will watch the movie because my kids were so excited to take me to the cinema and I didn't want them to miss out. But instead, my children turned around to me and said, no, Mummy, let's go home. Suddenly, I felt warm tears roll down my face. I just wanted to disappear. I started sobbing silently. But just before leaving the cinema, I asked the staff, put yourself in my position. How do you think I'm feeling? What they didn't realize that by being inaccessible, they were not only taking away precious moments between a mother and her children, they were losing out on a huge potential revenue. The next day, the cinema called me. They told me they had gone and got the headsets that were needed, and they invited my entire family to come and watch the movie for free. Now, that's just one example of how I regularly come across hurdles. And sometimes I navigate them pretty quickly. Other times I try, fail, time and time again. What I find, particularly frustrating are unnecessary barriers put in my way. But just like an actual race, I've learned to focus on the finish line, to be an athlete powered by purpose, to get over the barriers. For me, my purpose is to break down barriers that exclude people from accessing products and services. And trust me, as a disabled female from an ethnic minority background, I know exactly what coming across barriers feels like. So let's go back to the beginning. I'm one of 5 siblings, 3 of whom, including me, are blind. The 3 blind mice is what they used to call us. My first hurdle was accepting that I was going to go blind. I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa at the age of 4, but I didn't really understand that I would eventually lose my sight. I can tell you the lights are on, that's probably as much as I can see. As my sight deteriorated, I tried to face that early hurdle by developing compensatory behaviours just to fit in. My sister would record specific sections of books so I could pretend to everyone that I was reading along with everyone else in class. Instead of practicing spelling, I would focus on indenting lines on paper so I could feel that the words I was writing neatly sat on the lines, so I'm still a bad speller today. I went to university and I didn't have the confidence to tell people I was blind. So I made friends with a group of people who literally got me from A to B. They went to lunch, I went to lunch. They went to a lecture, I went to a lecture. But when they didn't go to a lecture, you get the drift. But throughout all of these experiences, I was using up so much energy trying to be something I'm not. And that might resonate with us all in this room. Thinking back to moments in our lives and our careers when you felt like the only person in the room. Honestly, it's exhausting. So I made the decision to accept my disability and to start using the cane. It gave me the freedom I craved badly so I could get around independently. Securing my first job after university was the second hurdle I cleared. It was pretty remarkable, considering 1 in 4 people of working age who are blind are unemployed even today. It was a huge stroke of luck for me. I was at a careers fair and I accidentally got chatting to one of the attendees. We got talking and he offered me a job. And I asked him, which company do you work for? And he said, Arnold Clark. Now, Arnold Clark is the largest car retailer in Scotland. So I asked him his name, and he said, it's Arnold Clark. So Mr. Clark not only gave me a job, but he asked me to define the work I wanted to do. So I started off in marketing, analysing lost car sales of high-end cars. 2 years later, I was approached by an agency who convinced me to apply to Procter & Gamble. Now, I had no expectations to secure a job with such a big multinational company. And to my amazement, I was offered a job at P&G. So within just 3 months, I had moved from Glasgow to London, living just outside of London on my own. It was something I had never imagined I would do, a hurdle that I never imagined would even, feature in my race. Not because I was blind, maybe that had something to do with it, but it's not typical for a woman from a traditional Pakistani background to live unmarried on her own, at least 20 years ago. But I was so lucky because one of the senior leaders at P&G went to Glasgow, met my parents, and helped them to feel comfortable to let me make the decision to come down and work at P&G. My first role in P&G was in IT. It's an industry in which women are still underrepresented today. And I was tasked to creating an e-marketing book for our fragrance business. My third hurdle was to find someone to marry. A year later, I met my husband, Joe. Joe is from a Scottish-Irish background, and although our story is, very untraditional, and one that I wish I had the time to share today because it's really nice, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm so lucky to share my life with someone who empowers and encourages me to have a rich and fulfilling, rewarding career. I realize I am biased, but he is a shining example of male allyship. So alongside Joe, I've experienced both my biggest wins and my biggest challenges, hurdles I was determined to jump over triumphantly. So 10 years later, after joining P&G, after several promotions and different roles in different brands across the company, I became a mum of 3 kids. So I had a son followed by twins, boy-girl twins, and I had 3 children under the age of 3. So, how does a blind mum go out on her own with her 3 kids to the park or to the shops? I found my ways. I would pull a double buggy, behind me as I used my cane in front of me to navigate forward. It was literally on-the-job training with precious cargo on board. I also had a bit of an epiphany. I'm sure every parent can relate to just how little time you have when your kids are born, and you no longer have the luxury of investing time to overcome, hurdles that surrounded basic everyday tasks. So having 5 minutes to jump in the shower while the kids are napping, but then not knowing whether the bottle I'm picking up, is it shampoo, conditioner, hair removal? Needing to change my baby before I go out, but not knowing whether the nappies I picked up were, the right size or the right specification. And I realized that whilst I was spending a lot of money as a consumer, the manufacturers of those products were not helping to make my life any easier. And I also knew that this was unintentional. They just didn't know enough about disabled consumers. So what could be done to change things for the better? Suddenly, it all became really clear. Me working at P&G meant that I had the power to change things for the better. I became that athlete powered by purpose. I decided that other people needed to run my race in my shoes. And I came up with this disability challenge, an opportunity to educate people to bring my experiences to life for them. So I asked people to wear glasses that simulate sight loss. And then I said, can you tell me the difference? What's in these bottles? I asked people to wear gloves that simulate dexterity in their hands. And then I asked them to open our box of laundry detergent. I asked them to watch our ads on mute and then explain the storyline at the end. And then I got them to sit in a wheelchair and get to the bathroom in our office. And what happened? They struggled. The basic everyday tasks suddenly became a hurdle in their race. And it got me asking questions. I kept asking, who owns this process? Who owns this brand, this product? And I would approach the people directly, started to show them the opportunity. I would touch their hearts and show them just how difficult life can become when you're not included. I touched their heads by showing them the potential positive business impact. If we opened up our brands to 1.8 billion more people, that's the number of disabled people in the world. As I continued my race, I became more and more passionate, running faster than I ever had before, feeling although I was clearing hurdle after hurdle, and I'm, having the opportunity to get people to think about the power of inclusion. I saw inside the company our internal mindset change, but also my personal mindset started to shift. I realized that whilst I loved my IT career, my real passion lay in innovation, driving our accessibility agenda forward. I got the opportunity to present what I was doing to the CEO at the time. And a week or so after, I presented him the business opportunity and got him to take the challenge as well. I shared with him the business case, and a week later, I was offered the role of P&G's special consultant for inclusive design. They said, you can try this role for a few months to see if it works. Now, that role has now evolved into what I'm doing, company accessibility leader for P&G. It's my dream job. It was an amazing opportunity. Just like my first, role in the car retailer, I was given a blank sheet of paper to make my job my own. There were so many things I wanted to do, and I prioritized internal education, and I delivered workshops across the business, meeting people in different roles, functions, geographies. And these people were so united and greeting me with openness, empathy, and are willing to join me in the race in bringing about positive change. Looking back, I'm just so proud of everything we've achieved, from greater accessibility in our offices, in our media, advertising, innovating in our products and our packaging, to make our products easier to open for people with a wide range of disabilities. Of course, we don't have all the answers, but we're on that journey, we're running the race. And personally, I no longer want to be described as a pioneer or a game changer, because that could be flattering, but it suggests that we're at the start of something. But when it comes to advancing diversity within our organizations, this work should just be normal. As I was reflecting on my experiences in preparation for today, it struck me just how much male allyship has played a pivotal role in helping me advance in my journey. From the person who gave me my first job after university, to my dad, who allowed me to break tradition and come and work for P&G, to the executive at P&G who flew to Glasgow to meet my parents to help me to encourage me to move to London, to my husband, who empowers and encourages me every day to reach my dreams, to the CEO and the executives at P&G who trusted me in developing this role for accessibility. I'm really incredibly fortunate to be surrounded by men who have supported me in my race in creating a more equal and inclusive world for people like me. I truly believe that we all have a part to play to get to that finish line. So my advice to you all is this: consider your own race. What can you do to get over the hurdles laid out before you, or help other fellow runners reach their potential? Some hurdles will be personal, some professional, and some will be things that you simply cannot change. I can't change the fact that I'm a mother, a woman, someone from an ethnic minority background, and someone who's blind, nor would I want to. Those men with power who I encountered along the way that have been supporting me in my race, they didn't have to, but they chose to, because it was the right thing to do, ethically and for the business. In the end, we all have to run our own race, but if we find ways to support each other along the way, we'll make it more fulfilling for us all to reach our potential. Thank you very much.
Doug Rowland.
Our next presenter is Beth Four. Corporate Affairs at Kellanova, and co-chair of Capable, Kellanova's business employee resource group for employees with disabilities and supporters. As a passionate advocate for people with disabilities, Beth has been a key member of Kellanova's pioneering collaboration with NaviLens to improve accessibility to some of the world's most iconic brands like Kellogg's and Pringles.
Beth Ford, Corporate Affairs, Kellanova, wears a light checkered jacket and red blouse.
Hi everyone, I'm so thankful to be here with you today to share with you about my passion for accessibility. Now, when most of you go to the grocery store, this is likely what you experience.
A grocery aisle.
But when I go to the grocery store, this is what I experience.
Now blurry.
You see, I was born with Usher syndrome, which is the leading cause of deaf blindness. I wasn't born blind. In fact, I had perfect vision when I was young. But I was born with a significant hearing loss, and I've worn hearing aids my entire life. And when I was young, I went to a school for children with hearing loss. Now, while I went to the specialized school, the reality was the rest of the world was not built for people like me. And back then, the only technology there was to help me was big clunky hearing aids that didn't work very well. It was at this time that I had gotten so far behind in my speech and language development that a doctor told my parents that I would likely never graduate from high school.
Childhood photos.
Thankfully, I have amazing parents who refused to accept that. And they instilled in me a belief that I could achieve anything. We all need people in our lives like that, don't we? People who believe in us and who will cheer us on when we feel like giving up. Having the right mindset is the difference between winning and losing. As I got older, I was mainstreamed into the public schools, and another doctor told me in junior high that I had a progressive eye disease and that I would start losing my vision and eventually go blind. I made an important decision at this point in my life. I realized I couldn't change my circumstances, my vision loss or my hearing loss. But I did have a choice in my attitude and in my determination to persevere. So with a determination to not let my disability hold me back, I lived as normal of a life as I could. I played sports in high school and I got my driver's license when I turned 16. And you know what? I proved that first doctor wrong. Not only did I graduate from high school, I graduated with honors. Now, it was around this time as I was finishing up high school and getting ready to start college that I started to notice the early symptoms of my vision loss. I started to lose my peripheral vision and I started losing my night vision.
Graduation photo.
But despite these challenges, I went away to college and I graduated with a degree in business. Now, early in my career, I worked at a pharmaceutical company, but no one knew about my disability. My hair covered my hearing aids, and I lived close to work so I could drive home before dark. You see, I didn't want people to know that I wasn't normal, because the reality is the world still is not built for people like me. It was around this time that I met my amazing husband, Matt. And like my parents, Matt has been a huge supporter in my life and has helped me find ways to do things that otherwise seemed impossible. Matt and I are blessed with 2 wonderful kids.
Family photo.
And it was during my first pregnancy that my eye disease progressed to the point that I had to stop driving. Here I was, a new mom, and while it was a joyful time, it was also one of the most difficult times in my life. And I started getting a lot of questions about why I was always being dropped off and picked up. You see, I was still trying to hide my disability. I didn't want people to know that I was different. As my kids got older, I decided to pursue my MBA degree. Now, my graduate degree was a lot more challenging than my undergraduate degree due to the progression of my eye disease, but with the support of those around me, I still achieved my goal and excelled in all of my classes. Shortly after graduating with my MBA degree, I accepted a position with Kellogg Company, which is now Kellanova. But this was a much different experience than my first job out of college.
Kellanova brands.
You see, hiding my disability was no longer an option. By this point, my eye disease had progressed to the point that I had to use a cane to help me navigate. And I had to request accommodations to start my new corporate communications role. But you know what? I didn't have to be embarrassed at Kellogg. It was a very inclusive and welcoming environment, and my colleagues were supportive and encouraging, and I was able to thrive in this type of environment. Like a lot of companies, Kellanova has a variety of business employee resource groups. But unlike a lot of companies, the business employee resource groups at Kellanova have a seat at the table with leaders. We know that we're able to work with the leaders to create positive change in our workplaces and with our brands. Shortly after starting at Kellanova, I became involved with Capable, which is the business employee resource group for employees with disabilities and supporters. And I had the privilege of serving as co-chair for several years. One of the projects I'm most proud of is our NaviLens project. NaviLens uses an optical smart code and a mobile device app. When the inventors of NaviLens first created their product, it was to help the blind community with public transportation. Originally, they never thought about using their technology on packaging. But when one of my colleagues learned about this technology, she asked, why can't we put this on our brands to make our products more accessible in the grocery stores? I'm so grateful to this colleague for asking this question. It takes this type of courage to ask the hard questions and to challenge the status quo. And I'm even more grateful to Kellanova for saying yes and letting us explore this idea. And we did more than explore. We launched, we put this on our brands. I want to share this quick 30-second video with you so you can see how this technology works.
3 different cereal boxes.
NaviLens works by allowing smartphones to pick up an on-pack code from up to 3 meters distance when a blind or partially sighted shopper points their device in the direction of the cereal box.
The app scans the boxes.
This then alerts the phone, and the shopper can choose to have the ingredients, allergen, and recycling information read aloud to them, as well as reading it on their device using the device's accessibility tools in whatever language the phone is set to.
Back to Beth.
We're proud to be the first food company to put this technology on our packaging. And now a lot of other companies are seeing the value of NaviLens and adding the technology to their products as well. When we first added NaviLens technology to our products, it was to help the blind community find our products. But we quickly learned that it made our brands more accessible to other people as well. For example, the mobile device app will read you the packaging information in whatever language the phone is set to. So now our products are more accessible to those where English is not their first language. When you create a more accessible world for those with disabilities, you create a better world for everyone. Did you know that text messaging was originally created for the deaf community? I'm guessing that most of you enjoy the benefits of text messaging every day. So I want to wrap up by sharing 3 things that we can start doing together today to ignite change. Number 1, invest.
A graphic of the globe.
Find someone with a disability or another challenge that you can invest in, that you can mentor, that you can cheer them on to do things that they didn't think were possible. Having mentors and people that believe in me has made all the difference in my life. And invest in your employee resource groups. Give them a seat at the table with leaders. Number 2, include. Make a commitment today to prioritize recruiting and hiring people with disabilities. Use their experiences and their knowledge to help you improve your workplaces, the products that you sell, and the services that you offer. And create an inclusive environment like Kellanova, where people with disabilities feel valued and welcome. And number 3, innovate. What is the next great idea you could uncover? Challenge the status quo. Prioritizing accessibility drives innovation. It increases your market reach, and it enhances your brand reputation and image. I want to end with a quote from Helen Keller. Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much. Let's envision a more inclusive, accessible world and work together to ignite change. Thank you, everyone.
On a background of various Kellanova products. Thank you. LinkedIn.com/in/Bethany4. Doug Rowland.
Our next speaker has been instrumental in changing how blindness is portrayed in film and television. Please welcome Joe Strechay, a film and TV producer and consultant who has worked on groundbreaking projects like Apple TV Plus's See and Netflix's All the Light We Cannot See. Before we hear from Joe, here's a short video about the making of All the Light We Cannot See, which showcases the innovative casting process for this hit series, as well as the importance of authentic representation.
How long a drive to the airport?
Subtitles, about 25.
Okay.
A van drives through Budapest.
Exciting.
Sean Levy.
The single biggest decision for all the light we cannot see was Marie. Who will be my Marie? She's the heroine of the book. She's blind. And she has persistence of hope against a backdrop of darkness. This story, it's massive. I wanted to cast Marie with a blind young woman, to have Marie played by someone who understands what it is like to walk that road. That's a valuable detail and nuance that impacts and informs every frame of this series. Thus began a global casting search. We got thousands of videos. One of them is a unicorn of a discovery. She's never auditioned. She's never thought about being an actress. She's an academic. She sent in an audition and I Zoomed with her. And increasingly my realization was, I think she could be great. So I called Aria. I am calling you to tell you that you got the part.
On a video call, Aria's face crumples.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you, Aria. Congratulations.
Can I call my parents?
Yes.
Text appears, discovering Aria. Behind the scenes clips play.
Today is the day that she arrives here in Budapest to begin this journey with us.
At an airport.
Hello, Aria.
So good to meet you.
Aria.
I was very excited to first meet Sean.
Are you hyperventilating?
I love it.
I know.
And so excited to see how caring he is to tell the story in the way it should be told. I want this character to be an authentic portrayal of a young girl growing up to become a young woman who's blind. So that's important for me to bring to the screen.
Hugh Laurie.
Aria, of course, is absolutely astounding because when they were setting out to cast this, I think they may have found the only one who could do it.
Aria has been a revelation.
Mark Ruffalo.
It's been interesting to see how easily she's integrated into it.
I'm going to run. You'll have to trust me.
I trust you.
Aria.
It's been really incredible to work with such an amazing cast. Everyone embraced me as not only a newcomer, but as someone who wants to create something that's powerful and special and meaningful.
Lewis Hoffman.
It's so amazing because she's never done anything, she's never been on a set, and she is such a quick study.
She is absolutely astounding, furiously bright. She's absolutely wonderful.
Nazis hate anyone who's different, and they hate anyone who speaks the truth.
Very.
I'm different. I know I am. I know you've tried to protect me, but I'm different.
I'm a little jealous because it took me 30 years to be able to do what she showed up and did in 2 weeks.
Sean.
Aria brought so much intelligence and frankly a humility to this.
She does bring a special depth and truth to her character.
Blind people never really have an opportunity to do such things because blind characters are typically played by sighted people.
Once Aria told me, I've never seen my face, and I've never seen people see my face.
Sean raises his eyebrows.
To realize how we all rely on self-perception and the perception of others. And how does one build a sense of self and a performance in the absence of those building blocks? You have to do it from the inside, and that takes tremendous fortitude. And that's what Aria brings.
After all the bombs, all the smoke,
I will never,
On set.
never give up hope.
I am so grateful to Aria, and I am so grateful that we found you. Thank you for doing hard work beautifully, sometimes with grace, but always with devotion and determination to be excellent.
I'm so grateful to be around a group of people that has shown me that I matter and that people like me matter, and that we deserve to not only have a say in telling our own story, but that we can be the hero of that story too. And because of all of you, I've felt myself really for the first time.
The cast and crew applaud. The title appears in Braille, which gives way to English letters, All the Light We Cannot See. Only on Netflix, November 2nd. Colours fuse into a thick red ribbon, folding over to form a capital letter N.
Joe Strechay, film and television producer and consultant.
Yes, I'm Joe Strechay, and I'm a producer and consultant in TV and film. And it is my pleasure to be speaking to you at this Helen Keller National Center's Accessibility Symposium. You know, television and film has always meant something special to me. I've been obsessed with it since I was a child and probably watched way too much of it, but you know, I think it might have worked out. I'm totally blind now, and I grew up with vision. I was losing my vision as a child, and legally blind by the time I was 19, and my mom was losing her vision too. And I didn't know people who were blind or low vision, and I looked into television and film to see myself. We all want to see ourselves in television and film, and I looked at a film like At First Sight that starred Val Kilmer, where he was a massage therapist, and also his sister would make his meals and put them in the fridge or a freezer for him. I actually thought about getting a certification in massage therapy because of watching that film and seeing that character. This is serious. And not to say there's anything wrong with massage therapy. It's just because I'm blind, I shouldn't think that's a profession that I need to go into, but representation matters. And I've worked on a lot of projects over the years, whether it's Marvel's Daredevil for Netflix when they originally created that show, and then also, the OA on Netflix, and then moving on to my production experience, as a producer for Apple TV Plus's See for 3 seasons. But when All the Light We Cannot See for Netflix came to me, I remember I got the phone call. It was February of 2020, before the world shut down, in March 2020. And they were telling me that they wanted me to work on this project. And it was based on a Pulitzer Prize winning book. And I read the book a bunch of times, and I was like, yeah, I want to work on this. And I was working on C, and they started thinking about the casting process. And once the world started opening up again, we started casting the child version of the character. But even before that, they started developing scripts, and Stephen Knight, was the creator of C, was writing the scripts for them. And, I'd worked with him on C and got to work with him again. And they wanted to do it right. And they wanted to make sure that blindness was respected. And, I don't work on projects where I don't feel blindness is represented well or respected. I want to make sure I build our community up. And accessibility allows me to do my work, but also allows the actors who are blind or low vision or with other disabilities to do work. Whether I was working on C for Apple TV Plus, creating accessibility for 35 actors who are blind or low vision over 3 seasons, or while I was working on All the Light We Cannot See, where our lead character, Marie Lore, was played by 2 actresses who are blind or low vision. Nell Sutton played the very young version of Marie Lore. She was 7 when we cast her. We found her in this international search, and when Sean Levy saw her, he's like, that's the one. Her charisma, she melted your heart. The interactions with her and just her presence on camera, and she's just adorable. And when we found her, Sean originally was thinking about, most likely that older version would be a prominent actor who's not blind or low vision, someone sighted. And when he saw Nell, he's like, I don't know, let's do an international search. And we did. And we found this one of a kind actress who was meant to play this part, Aria Mia Liberti. And we had thousands of auditions from actors who are blind or low vision from all over the world. And Aria just shined. She'd never auditioned before. She was legally blind. She was a PhD student at Penn State University, and she grew up in Rhode Island. And she never thought acting was going to be an opportunity that she could do. Because when we don't know about actors who are blind or low vision out there in the world, who are working and see them and see their work, we don't know it's possible. And the more opportunities out there, and I'm not saying every part is going to be filled by someone who's blind or low vision, because not every actor is meant for every part. But the more we show people successful, the more likely People are going to seek out the training and go into programs in TV and film and commercials and get acting experience and do community theater. And all these people who are blind or low vision will know it is possible. And then more and more of these roles will be filled by people who are blind or low vision. We want to always fill the role with the best person for that part. And Aria, Mia Liberty, and Nell Sutton were those people. I had to create accessibility for them, but accessibility for actors who are blind or low vision, it's, whether it's scripts or marks or on set or the production or whatever, the casting process, making sure that's accessible to them, making sure they can participate fully and just worry about what they do, their craft, acting. That's my role and one of my roles. And I work on the creative side too, helping to tell those stories about blindness, making choices in All the Light We Cannot See, which is historical fiction. So you'll see our character using 2-point touch at certain points, and the way they're using their white cane. It's not totally historically accurate because we had to make choices. It's a little longer than the cane they would use at that time too, because they actually are legally blind and how to use their cane. But that was my decision. And Sean Levy supported me in making these decisions as we moved on. And Aria got to have input on things as we filmed. And it's just so important to be part of the process. And we all want an accessible workplace and a place where we can go. Accessibility brings inclusion. I'm going to say that again. Accessibility brings inclusion. We can't be included if it's not accessible. And, I want to be able to participate. And my work on C really led me to that project. So, when we were bringing on 35 actors in over 3 seasons, and then the 20 actors in recurring roles, which means more than one episode, I had it from the start realizing, I'm like, so we're going to be bringing on actors. I'm like, who's in charge of the accessibility? They're like, is that something you can do? I'm like, yes, it is. And I got to figure out and build what that looks like. And when I asked Dan Schatz and John Steinberg, who were the showrunners of season 1 of C on Apple TV Plus, I asked them, I'm like, do we stop at blindness and low vision? What about other disabilities? And Dan's like, yes, let's include everyone. And Dan and John said, Joe, you do your thing. And I did. And we were able to bring on people who are deaf or hard of hearing, short of stature, people, persons with cerebral palsy, persons who have prosthetics like prosthetic leg, or persons who might not have use of one arm, all kinds of persons. But it was just, part of the world. And I think we all just want to be part of the world. And one of the great things about working on that show is also you're painting people as heroes, villains. You're creating people doing their everyday life. Often persons with disabilities and persons who are blind don't get to see that, don't get to see ourselves in all those different roles. And C allowed us to do that. And on All the Light We Cannot See, Marie Lore, you see her being courageous, see her saving her own life, but also challenging the world and pushing forward and helping the resistance. And I think we all want to be that hero. We all want to see ourselves in that realm. And it was real, the work we did helped paint this authentic picture about this character. And it was such a great pleasure to work with Aria, Mia Liberty, and Nell Sutton, Sean Levy, and Dan Levine. Sean Levy, the executive producer and director of all 4 episodes. And if you haven't watched it on Netflix, it came out in November 2023. Go and watch All the Light We Cannot See. You will not be disappointed. It is a great limited series and something you can watch easily. 4 hours, an hour an episode. Maybe actors you might not have heard of, Mark Ruffalo, Hugh Laurie, and others. Nah, just joking, We all know Mark, the Hulk, and so many other great roles. And Hugh Laurie, think of House and so many other fantastic roles. This show was a dream to work on, and I look forward to many, many other projects in the future where I get to paint how blindness is portrayed, but also in the accessibility for actors who are blind or low vision and other disabilities. I want to thank the Helen Keller National Center for putting on this event and including me, but also for creating accessibility for those who are deafblind and helping to change the world and impact it in such an important way. Yeah. And again, if you haven't watched my shows, go and check them out. You know, I hear they're pretty good, you know? So thank you again. I look forward to hearing from you all in the future. Enjoy the event. Take care.
Doug Rowland.
This concludes the symposium portion of the event. Thank you to our amazing presenters, Sam Lateef, Beth Ford, and Joe Strechay for your engaging and informative presentations. And now, on to the awards. The 2024 Accessibility Awards, to be precise. In its fourth year, the Accessibility Awards are an opportunity to honor the exceptional achievements of organizations dedicated to advancing accessibility in the blind, deafblind, and low vision communities. Our first awardee, United Airlines. United Airlines is committed to being the most accessible airline in the world through initiatives such as Braille integration into their cabins, improved in-flight entertainment accessibility, and new wheelchair accommodation initiatives. United Airlines' diverse workforce, which includes employees with disabilities, works to set industry standards for accessibility as they understand that accessible travel benefits everyone. Here to accept the award is Adam Lang, Project Manager, Mobile App, and Peter Wolkowski, Director, Onboard Product Design. But first, a video from United Airlines.
A United Airlines airplane.
Our goal is to be the most accessible airline in the world.
A man with red hair.
I think that so much of that starts on the inside with us. I live with a mild cerebral palsy. I haven't met a single coworker at United that isn't willing to work with me.
At an airport.
United, they took a chance on me. I was born without my right hand, and now I fly airplanes.
A pilot with one arm stands on a plane.
To give people a chance to thrive in the workplace and to excel in an area that we know that they can excel. It's just wonderful.
And I don't feel anything's going to hold me back by being hearing impaired. I just feel the opportunities are open, whatever I want to do.
Angie Cadet, Customer Service.
I'm Daniel.
And I'm Z.
And we are Special Olympics Service Ambassadors.
Our main goal is to greet the customer, to get their boarding pass and get where they're going.
Taylor Knapp.
I consider myself as the invisible disability, 100% deaf in both ears. It's important to see employees with disabilities engaging because it makes a really big benefit to society as a whole.
A woman smiles at a man.
At United, we needed an ally for everybody with disabilities, for customers and employees both.
Bridge Business Resource Group.
So we are the group of allies.
Captain Jill Mills, Bridge President.
Our goal is to just make this company the place where everyone says, well, totally gonna try travel, because they do it right.
Ray Campbell.
I help make sure that our website, our mobile app, and other digital channels are accessible to and usable by all customers.
We have set the standard for how we can make it better.
Featured accessibility elements.
With United taking more maybe innovative steps, beyond United, the changes could ripple.
We owe it to this community to make them feel just as comfortable as every other passenger.
An aircraft marshal signals a United plane. United, followed by their logo resembling a globe. Adam Lang, Product Manager, Mobile App, and Peter Wolkowski, Director, Onboard Product Design.
We're honored to accept this award on behalf of United Airlines for our advancements in cabin accessibility. Our mission is to ensure travel is accessible to all, and we've made great strides, particularly for passengers with visual disabilities. By being the first U.S. airline to introduce Braille in our cabins and tactile placards for non-Braille readers.
Our commitment extends to our in-flight entertainment and mobile app enhancements, supporting a range of assistive technologies. We have also implemented new tools and policies to better serve our wheelchair-using customers, including a digital filter for aircraft accommodation and a fair refund policy for necessary flight changes.
Internally, our business resource group, Bridge, champions an inclusive workplace, mirroring our dedication to customers with disabilities.
This award reaffirms our belief that accessible travel benefits everyone. Thank you for recognizing United Airlines' efforts to ensure that every journey is possible for every traveler.
Doug Rowland.
Our next Accessibility Award winner is LEGO. LEGO has revolutionized the way children who are blind and low vision learn Braille through their innovative LEGO Braille bricks. This product transforms a beloved toy into an educational tool that promotes inclusivity and literacy. LEGO worked closely with blind organizations worldwide in creating Braille bricks to ensure the product truly meets the needs of the blind and low vision community. LEGO believes children learn best through play and have created a fun and engaging way to learn Braille. Here to accept the award is the creative lead for Braille bricks, Rasmus Logstrup. But first, a video that showcases real families using LEGO Braille bricks.
Lisa and Matt and their 2 young daughters are sat. They open a box of LEGO Braille bricks. Lisa to camera.
Olivia lost her vision at such a young age. The whole way that she's learned about the whole world, essentially, is through sensory touch.
Lisa.
Do you want to find your name in the bricks?
Olivia.
I've got an A already.
An A?
She was first introduced to Lego Braille bricks in her class at school.
I think I normally use Braille in my books and at school. I started it in reception and my Braille teacher taught it to me.
The fact that we've now have that at home has just changed everything.
The family's playing with the LEGO Braille bricks and associated online play starters on a tablet.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Who's going to win, Olivia?
Me.
3, go! Rock! You can see they're just both as engaged as each other, and that's the main thing. It brings a typical game into the household that's got something accessible for her without making it so different. Learning the language, which makes her feel just the same as every other child.
A box of LEGO Braille bricks are on a counter. Amit and 2 children open the box.
What have we got here, Abby?
We got A1, B2, C3.
My kids have only known me without sight, but to them, I don't think they've realised that I can't see because I can hear so well.
Amit and his son and daughter look at a tablet.
Build a wall around the hand using bricks with 3 or more studs.
How many dots do we need?
3 or more.
3 dots or more. Oh, I can giant, you're moving your hand. They don't see me differently to how I think their friends see their parents.
Amit and the children building with the LEGO Braille bricks together.
I lost my sight 11 years ago. Nobody really mentioned Braille. They said, well, Braille is very old-fashioned, damn it. Technology's kind of replaced it. You've got audio books, you've got audio CDs, all of these things. I don't want to put headphones in because I kind of need to listen out for things, but to have a stack of pages on my lap, literally running my fingers across it, it's life-changing for me.
Both families are sat around a picnic table in the garden on a summer's day. A guide dog sits on the grass at their feet. The table is covered with red, green, white, blue and yellow LEGO Braille bricks. The children build with them. Amanda sat watching her son and daughter play. Reese.
I love Lego Braille bricks because they just help you learn. I've taught my sisters some Braille. Feels good because they didn't know it before I started teaching them. And I'm looking forward to learning with my mum, my nana, my dog.
Amanda.
Reese got a genetic disorder called optic atrophy. Over time, as our eyes deteriorate, Reese has deteriorated at a rapid rate.
With Braille, I know when I'm older I'll still be able to read and write and get my family involved and do secret messages with them.
It's just amazing to see the potential that can come from these little dots and how much it can change someone like Reese's life.
The children study the Braille bricks on an element chart.
Ding, dong.
Ooh. Ma. Is that it? Braille itself is quite a challenging thing to learn if it's just on a piece of paper. With the Lego Braille bricks, the children, they can all learn in an amazing way.
As a visually impaired parent, I try and teach them Braille because they obviously want to learn as well. Curiosity at that young age is great, and we kind of want to tap into that. The thing with Lego Braille bricks, they're colourful, they look like Lego bricks, they work like Lego bricks, but yet through play, they kind of learn and pick up the little dots. We can lose hours of the day just sitting there with a bucket of Lego bricks, just making things. But if you're learning at the same time, I think that's just a win-win.
Titled Lego Braille Bricks, now available on lego.com/play-with-braille-english.
Rasmus Logstrøm, Senior Design Manager, LEGO.
Hello, everyone. We are so proud to be recognized by an organization like Helen Keller, and we are a great admirer of the work and service you provide. Thank you for the award and recognizing the potential of the Lego Braille bricks. It's a great honor to be here to represent both the Lego Foundation and the Lego Group. The development of this product has been such a rewarding journey, allowing us to co-create this innovative and inclusive learning tool side by side with the blind and partially sighted experts and fans. We could not have done it without the help and the support of the many blind organizations and professionals working with children to teach them Braille through play. A special thanks to Royal National Institute of Blind People, American Foundation for the Blind, Dansk Blindesamfund, and all the kids and families that have participated in endless testing and marketing. All children have the right to quality education and learning opportunities. We asked over 25,000 children, and 88% told us play is the best way for them to learn and develop. It helps them develop essential skills to support them in their lifelong learning. Therefore, it's a privilege to support this important project that brings learning through play to even more children and adults around the world. Thank you again for recognizing the potential of this product, with each brick featuring studs on top that correspond to a letter, number, or symbol of the Braille code, which also printed on the same brick. This is truly inclusive play experience where blind, visually impaired, and sighted people can equally engage. The enormous response we have received from fans around the world is a big testament of this. We hope it will serve as a fun and engaging tool to support the development of Braille skills and help build wider awareness and interest of Braille and why it is still relevant in this digital day and age. Thank you.
Doug Roland.
Since 2015, Be My Eyes has transformed the landscape of assistive technology. Their app allows blind and low vision users to connect with volunteers to receive real-time visual assistance for daily tasks. But now the addition of AI support to the app provides an always available option for users. This blend of human compassion and technological innovation exemplifies the spirit of the Accessibility Awards and is the reason that Be My Eyes has been honored with a special distinction, the Access Excellence Award. Here to accept is Be My Eyes founder Hans-Jørgen Weiberg. But first, a video from Be My Eyes.
A girl holding a white cane runs her hand along a fence. A man with a cane rides an escalator.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple.
Dust particles dance in the light.
We're not that different from you.
A man sits in a chair.
We play music.
Hands on a keyboard.
We go to school.
A blind girl in class. She raises her hand.
We go to work.
A man on the phone smiles.
You get the picture.
A man with a cane at a train station.
But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to.
Woman on her phone.
That's where you come in.
A woman puts down her laptop. A man smells milk, now on his phone.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people.
A man in a
Through
laundromat.
a live video connection.
He holds his phone up in front of him.
Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Brand image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help.
A phone in a car.
And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in.
A man rides down an escalator. Looking at a family photo, a man hugs a girl. Milk pouring into a sink.
So, would you care to be my eyes?
Available on the App Store and get it on Google Play. A man with suspenders and a blue button-up shirt holds a cane in one hand and an award in the other.
Hello, my name is Hans-Jürgen Weiberg. I'm the founder of Be My Eyes, and I am very proud to say that we have this year received the Helen Keller Services Award. This means a lot to Be My Eyes because we have gotten this recognition from our own community. Helen Keller is, of course, focused on deaf blindness. I have hearing aids myself, so I feel I'm kind of part of it. And we in Be My Eyes, our destination is to make the world more accessible. And we very much hope that we can do even more for the deaf-blind community in the future. And this award is a reminder for us to be aware of the whole community. And we are very proud to receive this honor. So thank you so much.
Doug Rowland.
Melloway Makeup is built on the principle of creating makeup products that are accessible and easy to use for everyone. Melloway's standout innovation is their line of makeup products designed for one-handed application, making makeup more accessible to individuals with limited mobility or dexterity, while still appealing to a broad consumer base. We recognize their commitment to embedding accessibility into the very heart of their brand. Congratulations, Melloway Makeup, for your Accessibility Award for Inclusive Product Design. Here to accept our brothers and founders, Ash and Aiden Kim. But first, a short video from Melloway Makeup.
Melloway New York, the brand that marries artistry with technology. A woman using lipstick.
Our mission is to build a brand that is for everyone, including people that the beauty industry has marginalized. We wanted to bring products that are easy to use because makeup should be fun, effortless, and playful. At Melloway, we focus on making our products user-friendly and ergonomic.
Mascara.
The beauty industry must work harder to reflect the needs and voices of people with physical disabilities. We are starting by making our packaging easier to open, grip, and apply. Our commitment extends beyond creating cutting-edge products.
Lipstick.
We stand together with everyone who wants to celebrate their individuality through makeup and wants to explore the world of beauty on their own terms.
A collection of women of different ages and ethnicities. Melloway New York. Aiden and Ash Kim, co-founders, Melloway Makeup.
Thank you so much, Helen Keller Services. As a small business, we are honored and humbled by this recognition, especially among such giants across different industries. We started our company with a vision to broaden what it means to be inclusive in the beauty industry by designing products to be more accessible for people with unique challenges and physical difficulties.
The beauty industry still has a long way to go to reflect the needs and voices of people with physical disabilities. While conversations about disability have become a lot more prominent over the past few years, they're still lacking an industry-wide consensus and urgency to make beauty products more accessible. What we are doing right now may be barely scratching the surface, but we hope these small changes will eventually lead to truly accessible beauty. Our commitment extends beyond creating cutting-edge products. We are here for everyone who wants to celebrate their individuality through makeup and wants to explore the world of beauty on their own terms.
Our journey is nowhere near done, and we are more inspired than ever to continue our work. Thank you.
Thank you so much again.
Doug Rowland.
Several years ago, I collaborated with Helen Keller Services to build an educational platform called Feeling Through Studio, where disabled presenters teach users about disability. Made in collaboration with the deafblind community, it was also essential for us to make this platform as accessible as possible. We turned to Brian Williams at the creative agency Rival to help us take on this unique endeavor. Brian was able to take the accessibility of the platform to a whole new level, namely by integrating accessibility features like ASL interpretation, closed captions, live transcript, and audio description directly into the video player. Thank you, Brian and Rival, for your commitment to pushing the boundaries of what's possible in accessible web design. And congratulations on your Accessibility Award for Inclusive Educational Platform Design. Here's a video from Rival, followed by an acceptance speech from Brian Williams.
On a black backdrop, Rival, Feeling Through Studio, Crafting the Experience, clip from a film.
After Doug Roland's film Feeling Through had been nominated for an Academy Award, he and Sue Ruzensky of Helen Keller Services approached Rival to use the film's success as a springboard to create a digital platform that would serve to extend awareness and foster education around the deafblind community.
Shots from the platform.
As the many stories and educational courses were being crafted, we got to work designing a site with accessibility being the top priority.
Web accessibility.
We chose Webflow's new-to-market platform to build the site on, as its built-in accessibility features were exactly what we needed, core to the site's content strategy. Feeling Through Studio's stories are carefully organized into different categories, and within each category, video chapters have been set up for easy navigation. Each video chapter has its own page, description, supporting chapters, and education component. For video playback, we integrated the Able player to maximize the accessibility of the video. Within the player, we were able to create a workaround that allowed for multiple Vimeo videos to stream in simultaneously.
Quote bubbles.
The site has been very well received and continues receiving accolades as it grows.
The platform on a laptop.
It has been an honor for Rival to create this meaningful digital platform.
Now on phones.
And we look forward to furthering accessibility in all of our design.
Rival. A man with blonde hair, a white button-up shirt, and glasses.
Hello everyone, I'm Brian Williams, the Chief Creative Officer and co-founder of Rival LA. I'm a white male in my mid-40s, I have short, dark blonde hair, I'm wearing thin-rimmed glasses, a white button-down shirt, and I have a white wall and some large houseplants and other decorations behind me. Well, I'd like to start with a huge thank you to Doug Roland and Sue Ruzensky from Helen Keller Services. When I first watched Feeling Through, I found it so moving. It was so well directed and produced, and it being the first film starring a deafblind actor nominated in the Academy Awards, it was just like such an amazing accomplishment. So when Rival LA was asked to design a platform that would extend the success of the film into an entire education platform for the deafblind community, I was just so honored. To work on this was really meaningful. This was a special moment to really dig in and create something beautiful that everyone could experience. And when we saw the new stories that Doug was filming, how captivating they were and how well they captured the community, I wanted to ensure the digital experience was the most accessible setting there could be for a web platform. Designing Feeling Through Studio included creating interactions with clear, understandable navigation, meeting color and contrast standards, and ensuring the typography is set up with proper sizing and hierarchy in CSS classes so screen readers can pick up on them and present them in the proper order. And given the nature of the site, the video player was of course the most important piece. We integrated a few different players to feed in videos from Vimeo's streaming platform, but only the Able player could meet all the features we wanted. And even with this robust open source player, we hit a few roadblocks along the way for what was possible, but pushed hard and created workarounds that allowed us to do new things the player hadn't done before, like a customizable ASL and transcript box. You know, out of all of the awards to receive for innovation and design, this has to be by far the most meaningful. It's not every day we are asked to create something for a community that can experience such challenges within the web, and we worked so hard to make sure that this was done well. Helen Keller Services, we are so thankful for everything you do and the lives that you make so much better. You have inspired our company to spread accessibility in everything that we create. Thank you for this award, and thank you all for working with us on this amazing project.
Doug Roland.
The next award goes to one of the leading nonprofit organizations serving people with disabilities. The Viscardi Center is dedicated to educating, employing, and empowering individuals with disabilities or similar needs, including children, adults, and veterans. Their mission is to help these individuals discover the love of learning, experience the power of work, achieve the freedom of independent living, and develop the self-confidence to fulfill their dreams. The Viscardi Center is receiving the Accessibility Award for Comprehensive Disability Services and Advocacy, recognizing their outstanding commitment to supporting individuals with disabilities across all aspects of life and their efforts to create a more accessible and inclusive world. Here to accept is Chief Information Officer Mike Caprera. But first, a short video from the Viscardi Center.
A woman ties an apron, hands on a wheelchair, a boy in a wheelchair with a basketball, a young boy smiling at a laptop. A guide dog visits a man in a wheelchair. A boy smiles and claps. Shears cutting a plant. A man waves in a wheelchair. A young girl in a wheelchair smiles. A man in a wheelchair speaks.
We are the Viscardi Center, and together we are building a more accessible and inclusive world.
A world in which people with disabilities can discover the love of learning.
The power of work.
The freedom of independent living.
And the self-confidence to reach their dreams.
Dr. Chris Rosa.
The Viscardi Center is a leading nonprofit organization whose mission is to educate, employ, and empower individuals with disabilities and their family throughout their life cycles. We're proud to serve kids with disabilities, teenagers with disabilities, and adults who are readying themselves for lives of independence and employment.
Angelo Zagarelli.
We encourage each student to learn and grow at their own rate. And that's something I think we're experts at. Taking that individual student and looking at all of their different needs and making sure that we create an environment where they learn and grow at their own rate.
Cheryl Bouchot.
We're unique from other organizations in that we serve people with a broad range of visible and non-visible disabilities. Our well-rounded approach to employment focuses on all experience levels, from entrepreneurs, veterans, and professionals adapting to an evolving job market to youth transitioning from school to the world of work.
One of the most rewarding parts of my job is to watch that transformation happen with our students. Seeing them from elementary school to middle school to high school, where they grow and mature into bright, confident young adults, is truly amazing.
Debbie
Dylan
Cubis.
started attending Henry Viscardi School in pre-K. He was 3 years old. He's been there for his whole educational career. We didn't want him to just be the kid in the wheelchair in the back of the room, so to speak. We wanted him to be around people who were more like him, who he could relate to see your child excel and play wheelchair basketball and be in the National Honor Society and do all sorts of great things beyond anything you could wish for.
Chris Alvarez, graduate.
All these years I was Viscardi, the kid was shy, none turned into a wise, outspoken young man who was not afraid to advocate for himself. They teach you to be confident and to want to go places and have goals. That is what the Viscardi Center is about. That's what we're about. We want to have goals. This is the place to be.
When people complete their education and training at the Viscardi Center, they will feel the self-confidence knowing that they are prepared to make transitions either to college or to competitive employment as they take their rightful place among a diverse workforce. And above all, they will feel a prevailing sense of pride that they are members of the disability community and are playing a role in changing the face of contemporary culture.
Everyone can make meaningful contributions if given the opportunity. It's no different for people with disabilities. Look at job candidates for the skills they present on their resume and in interviews. Recognize the value and diversity of thought they could bring to your workplace. They might just be the next leader within your organization and beyond.
We want people to look past the disability and know that they can do things and be very successful at a very high level. Coming here regularly for all these years like I have, you learn to not see the disability. You see the person first. What we're trying to do as an organization is change those perceptions.
I can do the same thing as any other person, just in a different way. That's all it is. just in a different way.
One of the most powerful aspects of the Viscardi experience is the realization that we're all part of the same loving community, the members of which want the same things. They share the same hopes, the same dreams. They have the same fears and have the same aspirations as all other members of our community. People with disabilities are redefining what it means to be a person with a disability in American life.
We're educators.
We're employment experts.
We're parents.
We're students.
We are the Viscardi Center.
A star draws a line across the screen. ViscardiCenter.org. A logo of a person in a wheelchair holding a star. Mike Caprera, Chief Information Officer, the Viscardi Center.
We would like to thank Helen Keller Services Selection Committee, sponsors, and Accessibility Award recipients. You're all doing tremendous work. We appreciate this recognition as it raises awareness of the need to make digital assets accessible and the impact this work has on people with disabilities. According to the CDC, 1 out of every 4 U.S. adults has a disability. Yet, 98% of the U.S.-based web pages are not technically accessible and cannot be accessed by individuals with disabilities. Besides making a website inclusive being the right thing to do, the disability community is a largely underserved and growing market, and making adjustments to the web experience may serve as a competitive advantage for any organization. Studies have shown that companies without accessible websites are turning down a share of a $1.2 trillion market. In fact, 71% of people with disabilities will leave a website that is not accessible and not purchase your goods and services. With regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and employing individuals with disabilities, your website is the front door to your organization. You need to think about whether your online application process is inviting and accessible to individuals with disabilities. If not, your organization could be missing out on some really talented, qualified candidates. I would like to recognize the Viscardi Center executive leadership and staff for all of their hard work and commitment each and every day to this social enterprise. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you.
Doug Rowland.
It's hard to mention digital accessibility without thinking of Apple. For decades, Apple has taken significant strides to ensure that everyone, regardless of ability, can engage with their products and services. What sets Apple apart is not just their technology, but their philosophy. They believe that accessibility is not a feature, it's a fundamental right. This vision has inspired not only their innovations, but has also prompted other companies to follow suit, fostering a culture of inclusivity across the tech industry. As we celebrate Apple's achievements, let us recognize that their work is paving the way for a more inclusive future, where technology truly serves everyone. Thank you, Apple, for leading the charge and for reminding us all that accessibility is essential for innovation and community.
Apple presents The Relay, an aerial shot over a stadium. 2 teams, 8 athletes with and without disabilities, competing together. 4 athletes in a stadium hallway in white. 4 athletes in a stadium hallway in black. A runner wearing white and a runner wearing black line up at a starting block. And 2 others on bicycles. And 2 swimmers. Now a runner and a wheelchair user. An alarm on a phone wakes up a person. They squeeze their fist to stop it. They get out of bed. They have 1 arm.
Some people are just born to race.
A man brushes his teeth looking at a photo. He has 2 running prostheses. A man puts on sunglasses.
Nothing's gonna stop you.
Uses his phone.
7 hours, 16 minutes.
A woman gets out of bed and into a wheelchair. A woman with a prosthetic hand cracks an egg and makes an omelet. The man with sunglasses peels a hard-boiled egg.
We have the same goals, the same mindset.
A person with 1 arm ties a shoe. Several athletes pack their bags.
Everyone is going out there for the same reason, to be the best.
A runner and a cyclist train.
All you children gather round. We will dance to our own song.
A swimmer uses the camera on his phone to locate the starting block. He dives in the pool. A tap on the shoulder signals that he's approaching the wall. A runner puts in earbuds. Another runner with 2 prostheses. A female cyclist speeds down a tree-lined road. Another biker tests wind resistance on a stationary bike.
We train the same way. We practice the same way. We sweat the same way.
Athletes of different abilities lift a barbell overhead. A woman in a wheelchair bike pushes hard as she's held in place. Athletes doing high jumps and push-ups.
Together.
The stadium lights power on. Race day.
Featuring adaptive and non-disabled athletes competing over 4 stages, starting with a 100-meter sprint on the track, into a 500-meter cycle at the velodrome, a 50-meter freestyle swim, and back again to the track for a 400-meter finale.
Together.
Cyclists of different abilities prepare at the starting line. Swimmers on their starting blocks. Now runners. They prepare to go. One runner with and without a disability sprint down the track.
As a kid, all I wanted was to run and race. Just like my friends.
They cross the finish line neck and neck.
Stage 2, time advantage team 1.
I was never told, you can't do this, you can't do that.
Cyclists speed around an indoor track.
I was just doing sport like everyone else.
They're close to each other. Swimmers splash into the water.
All you children gather round. We will
The
dance.
clock in the arena keeps time.
There's no difference between me and any other swimmer. When I get in the water, I want to win.
They're neck and neck as they approach the wall. A sweeping aerial shot of the stadium.
Time advantage team 1.
When I am racing, I feel free. I feel powerful.
A female runner races a woman in a wheelchair bike.
The track makes everyone equal.
All you children gather round. All you children gather round. We will dance and we will groove. We will dance to our own song. We must spin to our own rhythm.
The screen goes black.
We lined up at the same line, and we finished at the same line. It was just a matter of who got there first.
The competitors rejoice together.
All you children gather round.
Designed
We
for
will dance
everybody.
together.
The Apple logo. Sarah Herlinger, Senior Director, Global Accessibility, Apple.
Hello, everyone, and thank you on behalf of the accessibility team at Apple. We are incredibly honored to receive this award. Helen Keller Services has been instrumental in advocating for equality, accessibility, and support of the deaf and blind communities. At Apple, we've been building accessibility into our products for almost 40 years now. We believe that accessible design is inherently good for all, so we ensure that accessibility features are available right out of the box across Apple products, because we feel that devices should meet people where they are and not the other way around. And with all that we do, we firmly believe in and are guided by the disability community mantra of nothing about us without us. That means deep collaboration with a wide range of disability communities inside and outside Apple is critical to creating accessibility features that work for a diverse set of users. And that's why we collaborate with organizations such as Helen Keller Services to incorporate feedback on the impact our accessibility features are having in the lives of our users. Accessibility is just one in a core set of values that are deeply integrated into everything we do at Apple, guiding how we operate as a company, how we design and build our products, and how we show up in the world around us. We're always working to leave the world better than we found it and to empower others to do the same. Congratulations to all the other honorees, and thank you again for this fantastic award.
Doug Rowland.
Well, that does it for the awards portion of our event. Thank you again to our award winners for their dedication and achievements in helping create a more accessible and equitable world. United Airlines, Lego, Be My Eyes, Melloway Makeup, Rival, the Viscardi Center, and Apple. You are truly companies to be admired and emulated. But before we conclude this event, let's hear from Helen Keller Services CEO, Dr. Susan Ruzensky.
Dr. Susan Ruzensky, CEO, Helen Keller Services.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sue Ruzensky, and I'm the CEO at Helen Keller Services, and I'm very happy to be here. I am a white female. I'm in my 60s. I have shoulder-length blonde hair. I'm wearing blue glasses, and I have a blue dress and jacket. So as we come to a close with our 2024 Accessibility Symposium Awards, I'm just filled with excitement and possibility. Today, we've witnessed the incredible power of innovation, collaboration, and commitment in creating a more accessible world for all. And before we reflect on today's event, I'd like to introduce to you my colleague, Brian Ward. Brian is a very valued person on the Helen Keller Services team, and he brings a unique perspective as a person who is deafblind.
Brian Ward, Coordinator, ICC Programs.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to be here with Sue to close out this important symposium. As someone who lives and works with combined hearing and vision loss, I've experienced firsthand the impact of accessibility in both my personal and professional life.
Dr. Susan Rosensky.
Thanks so much, Brian. Your experience and perspective highlights why the work we've discussed today is so vital. From Samara Latif's inspiring journey at Procter & Gamble and Beth Ford's groundbreaking work at Kellanova, we've seen how personal experience can drive corporate change. Joe Stretchai showed us the transformative impact of authentic representation in the media, proving that accessibility extends far beyond physical spaces into the stories we tell and the characters we see on screen.
Brian Ward.
Our Accessibility Award recipients have demonstrated that accessibility is not just a goal, but a driver of innovation and business success. They've shown us that when we design for accessibility, we often create solutions that benefit everyone.
Dr. Susan Rosensky.
But our work is far from over. The global disability market represents an immense, largely untapped potential, not just in economic terms, but in human capital, innovation, and societal progress. This vast community of individuals with diverse abilities is not a niche demographic. It's a significant portion of our global population that crosses all boundaries of age, culture, and geography. This reality serves as a powerful call to action. It reminds us that accessibility isn't a specialized concern or a box that we can check. It's a fundamental principle that should underpin how we envision, design, and operate in an increasingly interconnected world. When we prioritize accessibility, we're not just opening doors for some. We're creating a more versatile, user-friendly, and innovative environment for all of us. And as we lead this symposium, Brian and I would like to challenge each and every one of you to become ambassadors of accessibility at your organizations and communities.
Brian Ward.
Here's how you can partner with us to make change. The first is educate. After watching this amazing symposium, there is much thought and reflection. Talk, discuss, and share those ideas with your colleagues. And the second thing is collaborate with Helen Keller Services. Reach out to us, take the time for training, consultation, and to explore partnership opportunities.
Dr. Susan Rosensky.
Innovate. Look at your products, services, and workplace practices through an accessibility lens. How can you make them more inclusive? Advocate. Push for accessibility. Be a core part of your organization's strategy, not just an afterthought. Hire inclusively. Actively seek out and create opportunities for individuals with disabilities in your workforce. At Helen Keller Services, we're committed to be your partner on this journey. Whether you need resources, training, or you just need a sounding board for your ideas, we're here to support you. Thank you all for being a part of this important conversation. Let's leave here today not just inspired, but determined to take action. Together, we can build a more inclusive and accessible and prosperous world for all. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful day.